Ladies and gentlemen, the White House has started holding direct talks with the Palestinian resistance group Hamas. This is massive, and its significance cannot be overstated. And this comes just days after Israeli war criminal wanted by the International Criminal Court, Benjamin Netanyahu, announced the blockade of food, water, and medicines into Gaza. So, what's the story? News website Axios first reported that the White House has been holding direct talks with Hamas for several weeks in Doha, in Qatar. The US had declared Hamas a terrorist organization in 1997, and the US administration has always maintained that it cannot engage with a proscribed terrorist organization. Hence, the political significance of this latest development. According to reports, US Presidential Envoy for Hostage Affairs, Adam Boiler, held talks with Hamas in Qatar in recent weeks. The central theme of these discussions was to ensure the release of US captives held by Hamas in Gaza. White House Press Secretary Karen Leavitt, she has also confirmed the report, even though she refused to divulge more details. She said, and I quote, "Look, dialogue and talking to people around the world to do what's in the best interest of the American people is something that the president has proven is what he believes is a good faith effort to do what's right for the American people." End quote. Leavitt said that Israel had been consulted about the direct engagement with Hamas officials. What she did not say was that Israel had learned about the White House's direct engagement with Hamas through other channels, not directly from the White House. If this is true, then this says a lot about Netanyahu's standing in the current scheme of things. The talks between Boiler and Hamas officials in Doha reportedly focused in part on the release of US hostages, which is within Boiler's remit as hostage envoy. However, there are reports that these talks also reportedly included discussions of a broader deal to release all remaining hostages and reach a long-term ceasefire. But it must be made clear that no deal has yet been reached. What's more, Trump's Middle East envoy, Steve Witkoff, who played a key role in striking a ceasefire deal in Gaza, he had also planned to travel to Doha this week to meet the Prime Minister of Qatar about the ceasefire negotiations. But he cancelled the trip on Tuesday night after he saw no response from Hamas's side. Hamas is currently reported to hold around 59 more prisoners. According to the Israeli terrorist group, the IDF, 35 of these prisoners are dead. 22 prisoners are believed to be still alive, and the fate of 2 others is unknown. Among those alive are 5 American prisoners, including one 21-year-old, Aidan Alexander. Thanks to Trump's intervention, Israel and Hamas had reached a ceasefire deal in January, under which Hamas and Israel were expected to exchange Israeli prisoners and Palestinian hostages over the period of 6 weeks, in the first phase, which expired last Saturday. In the second phase, Israeli terrorists were to completely withdraw from Gaza. But Netanyahu recently stunned everyone by announcing that he was not prepared to honor the terms of the ceasefire deal as he announced a blockade of food and other supplies into Gaza.
בוקר טוב. אמש קיימתי דיון ביטחוני בהשתתפות שר הביטחון, ראשי הסיעות, בכירי מערכת הביטחון וצוות המשא ומתן. בסיום הדיון החלטנו על הצעדים הבאים. ישראל מאמצת את המתווה של שליחו של הנשיא טראמפ, סטיב ויטקוף, להפסקת אש זמנית לתקופת הרמדאן והפסח. אנחנו מתואמים באופן מלא עם הנשיא טראמפ ואנשיו. לפי המידע שיש בישראל, חמאס מחזיק היום 59 חטופים, עד 24 חיים ולפחות 35 חללים. אנחנו לא מוותרים על אף אחד מהם, ואנחנו נחושים להחזיר את כולם הביתה. לפי הצעת ויטקוף, ביום הראשון של המתווה שלו, ישוחררו בפעימה אחת מחצית מהחטופים. בסופו של המתווה, אם תושג הסכמה, ישוחררו יתר החטופים, גם הם בפעימה אחת. ויטקוף הציע את המתווה להארכת הפסקת האש, לאחר שהוא התרשם שאין בשלב זה אפשרות לגשר בין שתי העמדות של ישראל ושל החמאס לגבי שלב ב', ושדרוש זמן נוסף לשיחות כדי להשיג הסכמה אפשרית. הוא אף הגדיר את הצעתו כפרוזדור למשא ומתן על שלב ב'. ישראל מוכנה לכך. ואני רוצה להבהיר, בניגוד לטענות שאני שומע מהפרשנים באולפנים, ישראל איננה נמצאת בהפרה, בעוד שהחמאס הפר פעם אחר פעם את ההסכם של שלב א'. על פי ההסכם המקורי, ישראל יכולה לחזור ללחימה לאחר היום ה-42, אם היא מתרשמת שהמשא ומתן לא אפקטיבי. הסעיף הזה נתמך במכתב צד של הממשל האמריקני הקודם, וקיבל גם את הגיבוי והתמיכה של ממשל טראמפ. אבל על אף זאת, הסכמנו למתווה ויטקוף, כי אנחנו מחויבים להשיב את חטופינו. בעוד שישראל הסכימה למתווה הזה, החמאס עד כה דבק בסירובו, הוא לא מסכים למתווה. אם חמאס ישנה את עמדתו, ישראל תיכנס מיד למשא ומתן ליישום המתווה. ואני רוצה להבהיר דבר נוסף. לא יהיו ארוחות חינם. אם החמאס חושב שניתן יהיה להמשיך את הפסקת האש, או ליהנות מתנאי שלב א', מבלי שנקבל חטופים, הוא טועה בגדול.
He simply couldn't care much about the international outrage, since his actions were widely deemed as another episode of collective punishment and hence a war crime. Netanyahu had called it a Witkoff plan, implying that his genocidal plan had the blessing of the White House. The fact that the White House has been holding direct talks with Hamas for the first time without bothering to get the buy-in from Netanyahu shows that the Israeli terrorists had not told us the whole truth over the weekend. The revelation over the White House's direct talks with Hamas has emerged just hours after the Arab countries adopted the Egyptian proposal on Gaza's rebuilding plan. The extraordinary meeting of Arab nations were also attended by the Emir of Qatar, the Vice President of the United Arab Emirates, the Foreign Minister of Saudi Arabia, and United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres, among others. It's too early to read too much into the White House's direct talks with Hamas, but one thing is clear. There appears to be a shift in Trump's Gaza policy. Last night, when Trump addressed the joint session of the US Congress, he did not mention his infamous Gaza takeover plan. This is what he told the Congress.
In the Middle East, we're bringing back our hostages from Gaza. In my first term, we achieved one of the most groundbreaking peace agreements in generations, the Abraham Accords. And now we're going to build on that foundation to create a more peaceful and prosperous future for the entire region. A lot of things are happening in the Middle East. People have been talking about that so much lately with everything going on with Ukraine and Russia. But a lot of things are happening in the Middle East. It's a rough neighborhood, actually. I'm also working tirelessly to end the savage conflict in Ukraine.
Rest assured, we haven't heard the last word on this topic. I will be back with more updates as and when they unfold. In the meantime, thank you for your support of this platform and our journalism on buymeacoffee.com and Patreon. If you too think that our journalism is worth supporting, then you too should consider becoming part of it. In the meantime, if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please do so, because that's one of the many ways you can support independent journalism. God bless you all.